Hi, it's James today. And at 51, I finally pretty much came to the realization that I'm going to retire. It's tough to find a job, anyways. I don't care what age you are these days. But at 51, I have a feeling I'm retired. And when you come to it and it switches in your brain that you're not going to work again because you're on a routine every day. You get up, make your coffee, go to work, and all of a sudden that changes. You get a little bored, but it's a little tough adjustment, that's for sure. But you know what I did? I got my house paid off, my car's paid off, and I made sure I bought tons of food, tons of canned food for the apocalypse because there's a lot of preppers out there. I know those guys, and I watch their videos, which I really love those videos. They're really informative. But yeah, at 51, getting a job's tough. It's you're fighting with people with university educations to get a job at Canadian Tire or Walmart. Simple as that. So I still want to work. I'm physically capable, but it ain't easy. But the transition was really weird, for sure. And if anybody can give me some experience on this, I'd really like to hear that. Hopefully, my wife doesn't retire in 5 years because then that'd mean we'd have to spend all day together, which would be grateful. Yeah, it'd be charming. But anyways, yeah. But you know, when you're young, you got to make sure you know your job. These jobs these days don't last 30 years. I'll tell you right now, employers, they're going to use you for 2 to 5 years, make you work your ass off, and they don't want to pay you top vacation pay, and they don't want to pay you severance pay that costs a lot of money, and they're just going to get rid of you. There's no such thing as when my dad worked at GM Trim Plant, that you worked 33 years, got a pension and a gold ring and all that stuff. That's not happening anymore. You go to employer, 3 to 5 years. That's it. So just understand that. And as simple as that. And, you know, it's sad. It's what our government did to us. You know, people should be able to go get a job, get a mortgage on a house for 30 years, and rely on that job and go to work every day to pay their fucking house off. Like, I just struggle every fucking day eating Kraft dinner and hot dogs. And I don't know what the fuck these kids are going to do. They can't even afford a house. They're going to be stuck in their parents' basement for the rest of their lives because they can't afford a house. And there's no good paying jobs out there. Unless you got one hell of a... The best jobs are electricians and plumbers. Heating and cooling is pretty decent, in my opinion. And, you know, in heating and cooling, my buddy, top-notch HVAC technician, and he goes to companies, motels, and he does a cash price and on books price because he doesn't like paying taxes. And the cash price, he likes that, which I don't complain. You know, the company gets it cheaper, he gets it cheaper. Simple as that. He don't have to pay taxes. He does his job. But yeah, you know, as far as I'm saying, the kids these days are our government under Trudeau. I ain't blaming Trudeau himself, but whatever democracy that we had in order, they fucked the Canadians. Like, shit. Try get a job that makes decent money nowadays. I'm just fortunate enough to know that My house is paid off. My car is paid off. And I don't have kids. And that's a whole nother story. I didn't take a picture of that. I went to our local grocery store today, and diapers are $55? Shit, when I was a kid, my mother put socks on my ass. God damn. Like, so you're going to work and working 2 hours for diapers for a week. That's crazy ass shit. And they wonder why they have to immigrate people, because nobody wants to have kids in Canada. Because it costs too much fucking money. Simple as that. And why do you immigrate people? Why don't you promote the Canadians to have their own damn kids and make sure they can have a house and a car and live a decent life and a good paying job? And I ask anybody in Windsor, Ontario, Canada that are applying for a job, if you can find a job, please let me know. Because shit, unless you want to work at McDonald's, which they're not even hiring either unless you're like 12, you ain't getting a job. Fuck. But anyways, James out today. I'm just having another video. Nighty night.